If you don't have these automated email flows set up for your business, you are leaving free money on the table. These flows that I'm going to take you through today work in the background to capture your lost sales, increase your conversion, and drive revenue while you sleep. If you're watching this, it's because you've got an idea that you want to launch, you're building something yourself, or you want to drive more revenue from your current startup or business. And if you're not currently using emails, then you're missing out on a huge chunk of revenue that is so easy to get at. I'm Gina. I've spent the last 17 years building startups. One of the biggest projects that I did was to drive revenue from a standing start from an apparel product. These exact emails that I'm going to show you today drove over $400,000 across 12 calendar months. I'm going to show you exactly what emails that you need to be using and how to set them up for completely free. Think about the last time you went to any website. I guarantee that when you entered that website, you were greeted with a pop-up tempting you to give your email address for a discount. There is a reason that this exists and it works for everyone. It is to get people into that brand's welcome series flow, the cornerstone of making money in your sleep. That is why the first thing we're going to build together is your welcome series. This can be as short or as long as you like, but 17 years in the business has told me that 3 emails is the magic welcome series number. So let's set up these 3 emails that go to every single customer after they land on your website. You get one chance to make a first impression, and that's why there are 3 core parts to this welcome series: the timing, the content, and the offer. Firstly, timing. You need the immediacy to make that first impression, but you don't want to overwhelm people with moving too quickly, too fast. That is why the first email is sent immediately after sign up. In this email, you want to welcome people into your brand. You need to set up your unique tone of voice, your USP, and give people an idea of the values in the brand that they are aligning themselves with. The easiest way to do this is to use this first email to introduce your purpose or your mission. This anchors people into your brand values straight away. You should also use this opportunity to highlight your core services, not only to simplify what your brand does, but to cement why they signed up in the first place. The next email in the welcome series comes 5 days later. Not too soon, but close enough to keep that momentum going. In this email, you are going to give them value for free. If it's a product, it can be a how to use it or how to style it, as seen on others, or an insider tip, but direct value that is an encouragement to interact with your brand without asking this new person for anything from them. Then 4 or 5 days later comes the encouragement to purchase. A reminder that you are glad to have them here and offering them a discount. This is where we see the offer part of this core welcome series. That is the simple welcome email. You've got your introduction, you've got your value, and then you've got your encouragement. This is so valuable because it warms that interaction with your brand from someone landing on your website. It encourages intent because it reinforces who you are and what you offer. And then it drives purchase by presenting an offer or a discount. And it does a soft sell. A discount is a great way to encourage purchase without being overly salesy. This exact welcome series formula saw me drive over $53,000 of product revenue in Q1 of 2022 without having to do anything. And this was purely from a landing on the website and signing up from a newsletter welcome series email. It's incredibly powerful and automated, so it makes money while you sleep. So this sequence is the foundation. It is the core sequence that you need. It is the warming up of that customer, and it is that soft sell that drives direct revenue. But the next big hitter that drove over $100,000 of revenue for me in 1/2 of a year is the abandoned cart recovery flow. Now, I grew up in an age where the Argos catalogue was the way that you made your purchases. Every time it arrived, I would sit with my mum and my sister and circle all the things that we wanted to buy. Those things often made their way to our birthday and our Christmas gifts. We knew we wanted them, but we weren't able to buy them right then when the Argos catalogue landed on our doorstep. We did, however, have desire and intent. Customers often start doing something and navigate away from your website purely because they are distracted by day-to-day life or they have other things on their mind. This leaves things in people's carts. This abandoned cart recovery flow is so effective because it takes people back and gets them to finalize their purchase. In fact, the average open rate for an abandoned cart recovery email is around 45%. General email open rate sits around 20 to 25%, showing just how powerful this email series is. Now, as with our welcome series, there are some core features of this formula that make it effective. Timing is obviously still key, but what's key with this one is its simplicity and no-brainer value. With timing, you still want to catch people early on whilst they still have that intent. The desire needs to be fresh in their mind, but they need to have completed the other tasks. So 1 hour after they have abandoned their cart is the perfect timing to set this email automation up. And keep this simple. The easiest way to do this is you've left something behind with their product and a direct link to their cart. You will immediately see revenue from this one simple email, but we will set up this automation that if they don't purchase, they will receive another email 24 hours later. In this next email, you go a bit more into depth, but do not overload. This is where you take the opportunity to highlight the functional benefits of the product that they have in their cart. You can do this purely by listing out the benefits, you can add in your USP, or you can insert a customer testimonial of that product. These 3 ways show that their pain point or the reason why they put it in their cart already is valid, and they will be getting value from the product that they have chosen and shown intent to purchase. Again, you will see revenue from this one email. But if they still don't purchase, we have another one automated 48 hours after this second email goes out. And this email is where you get emotional. In this email, you are going to add an incentive. This can be a discount, free shipping, or a free gift. Remember, they have had intent, they know the product, they just now need a little bit of coaching. By giving them a discount or another reason to purchase, this will tip them into purchase. Now, the next automated email series you are going to set up is one that I love because it is a digital replacement of my first ever job. Now, we've all worked retail at some point in our lives, surely. I actually used to work in mid to high-end retail. And the first thing that we were taught in our training was that you say hi to everybody that comes into the shop. And then you leave them. You leave them to browse before you come back and ask if they want any help. This isn't to just be polite. This is to subtly remind customers why they came in and guide them towards purchasing. It's actually something called Cialdini's Principles of Persuasion, a psychological formula that assumes intent, adds reinforcement, and nudges commitment, removing hesitation to buy and making purchase a natural next step. Now, this email flow is a digital replication of that in-store experience. This browse abandonment flow is powerful because it builds a buyer journey from someone who is aware and interested in your brand. Now, it's really important that this email sequence follows this exact flow and this exact tone of voice, otherwise it wouldn't work. The same that if someone came into your shop and you immediately said, "How can I help you?" and you said it in a rough way, it's not going to work. You need to feed into that principle of intent, reinforcement, and nudging that commitment. So email 1 needs to go on the same day that someone has viewed your products or interacted on your website. This email is presumptive engagement. You presume someone is interested in your product. The language does not invite a no. Much like when I worked in retail, I was taught to never say, "Can I help you?" because the answer might be no. It's more, "What are you looking for?" We reflect that language in this email. This email will show products that have been viewed or seen, presuming that there is intent to purchase. It's a reminder that they have good taste. So use content such as "great choice" or "this product pairs well with this." Something that assumes that by clicking on your website or your product, they already have that intent to purchase, and you are reinforcing that, the assumptive reinforcement. Now for this flow, you have a second email, but you want to wait longer than you waited for your abandoned cart email because the intent is lower and needs a bit more reinforcement. This second email is reinforcement number 2. I recommend you send this around 3 days later. This email is going to be removing friction and double reinforcing that purchase intent and decision. Now, the content for this can be one of 3 things that always works. The first uses herd mentality. So the content can be social proof and authority. Wording such as "this has been really popular lately" or "our customers love this," tapping into that herd mentality of purchase. The second type is scarcity and urgency. This is your content like "only a few left," "we are low in stock." This is tapping into the fact that loss aversion often triggers action. So you're dialing up that scarcity and urgency to reinforce the purchase decision. And the third type of content you can use is commitment bias. Remember, we are assuming intent and reinforcing that intent to purchase. A commitment bias email will read something like, would you like this in black or navy? It encourages a micro commitment, a micro choice, which then pushes towards a full purchase. Now, these three types of content can be reworded in many ways. If you want some more examples, drop me a comment below and I will give you some more examples. But these are the three core ways in which you can trigger that second reinforcement of purchase intent. And all of these are psychological sales hacks that do not feel like a hard sell. This email flow helps your customer feel like they were correct in their intent and justified in making the purchase. And as with our abandoned cart email sequence, you can now add in an incentive. So the next email that you will set up, which can be 48 hours after this one, is going to have a discount, an offer, or an additional incentive to keep pushing that purchase in a non-committal, non-salesy way. Now, this might sound like a lot of emails, but trust me, it is really not many at all. Each one is clear, concise, drives value, and drives direct revenue. If you go into a store, you have intent. If you click on a website, you have intent. If you put something into your cart, you have intent to purchase. If you already have the desire, you have intent. If you're a long-time subscriber to this channel, you will know that the key to driving revenue is changing interest into intent to purchase faster, and these email sequences do that for you automatically in your sleep, making you money without any effort at all. These emails work. They have helped me time and time again to hit my revenue targets, and you can set them up for completely free. Now, I'm actually on a quest to make over $500,000 of sales for my new product, and I use an additional 3 email sequences to these ones that I've explained today. If you want to know the next 3 in my series, leave me a comment and I'll do another video. But do set up these email sequences and make money while you sleep.